Hi all, in this video we will talk about decorator design pattern. Okay. Now let's start with an example. Now let us suppose you have a coffee or you went to an ice cream parlor and you ordered an ice cream. Okay. Now initially what ice cream shop had done is they are preparing only ice creams, and whenever people come they might give, like based on the people preferences, they might give you vanilla, chocolate or strawberry. But later on what they want to do is they want to incorporate additional toppings to the ice creams. Like while ordering the vanilla or strawberry, people can come and say that I need toppings on top of ice cream, like I need choco chips, and some other people come and say they needed some other topping. Okay. Now the same thing goes for pizza as well. Let's say initially the pizza firm, it's preparing only pizzas, like you go and order the pizza, veg pizza, non-veg pizza or anything. Okay. Now later on what happens is they want to add the toppings. Okay. So now the toppings could be they like customers can come and say they need cheese burst. Okay. And customers can come and say they need vegetables, and they might come and say they need tomato sauce. Okay. Now let us explain, like let me draw here. So initially you order a pizza. So pizzas are of different varieties. It might have vegetarian pizza, and even in vegetarian also you might have mushroom pizza. Okay. And another one could be the paneer pizza. Okay. Like you will have the non-veg pizzas as well. Now people who come and order veg pizza, they might ask toppings as well. They might ask cheese burst. Okay. And they might ask cheese burst, and they might ask another additional vegetables. Okay. They might ask sauce. So the same thing goes for additional these pizzas as well. Now for this pizza they wanted these toppings, and these toppings are not specific only to this vegetarian mushroom pizza. Like if they're going for a paneer pizza, what happens is they want the same toppings. Like they want cheese burst, they want few more vegetables that needs to be added on top of the cheese. They need to add extra tomato sauce. Okay. And same goes for non-veg pizza as well. Okay. And in this case what happens is initially when pizza firm had started business, what it had done, it had created a super class called pizza, and all these pizzas like mushroom pizza, paneer pizza, and non-veg pizza, all these are extending the pizza class. Now you need to add the toppings. Okay. Now, and these toppings are not specific only pizza. These can be added on all these varieties. Okay. And on all these varieties as well, on varieties of pizzas. So in this case what you will do, like if you are stuck in this situation, people might think that okay, since I have like toppings here are three varieties, one is cheese burst, and another one is the vegetables, and another one is the sauce, right? What they will do is, even when you order it, the cost is like the initially only the plain pizza might cost $10, and when you add the toppings, and each topping can cost $1, $2, $3. Okay. When a person comes and gives this combination, let's say I go and I order mushroom pizza with double cheese burst. Okay. Double cheese burst. Now ideally mushroom pizza is costing me $10, and then when I add a double cheese burst, the cheese burst cost is 2, but I'm ordering double cheese burst, which means twice. Okay. 2 plus 2, so the total cost of the pizza comes to be $14, right? And in the same way, even the sauce or the vegetables also, they might they might want it in the double combination or the triple combination. Then just not go with the single combination like double cheese burst, double sauce or double vegetables. They might go with that combination. Now what changes you need to do, like to accommodate these toppings as well. So, and these toppings are not constant. It might vary. Like in future, you might get additional topping as well, right? So now, till now, I have only this layer, right? Only this layer hierarchy is there. Now here the toppings are there. What people might think is, okay, I will create, or I'll create a new class. Since the toppings are three varieties, each pizza we have three varieties. So here three classes are required. And now paneer pizza, either it can go with the plain pizza or it can go with this combination. So here also three. Okay. And then for non-veg pizza also, what they will do, either they order non-veg pizza or they might go in combination non-veg plus cheese burst, non-veg plus sauce, and non-veg plus vegetables. So this is the combination that they might go. So what people think is, okay, since these toppings are also need to be added here, what I'll do is I'll create classes. Veg, like mushroom pizza plus sauce will be one class, and it will like I'll define cost in this method. So whenever a person comes and orders mushroom plus sauce, I'll initiate this class, and whatever is the cost that is defined here, I'll give that as an output. This is one way of thinking if you are solving this problem. But will this approach covers all scenarios, and will this follow the design principles? Let us see. Now you thought that, okay, since there are only three toppings, and I'll go with the combination mushroom plus sauce will be one class, and mushroom plus cheese burst will be one class, and then mushroom plus vegetables will be one class. Okay, you might think that, so that uh, you can update cost in this method in this class. And the same thing you might do for other pizzas as well. Plain paneer pizza is one class, and paneer plus sauce would be another class, and paneer plus cheese burst would be another class. Okay, but let us suppose people come and ask you double cheese burst, right? Do you predict that he comes and asks double cheese burst? Then in that case, what you need to do, create one more class which will have cheese burst twice. Okay, and few people might want more spices on the pizza. So if spices are added as one of the toppings, they might go with double, triple also. It depends on the taste or the way the people consume, right? So you can't predict it. Like if you are allowing only a single topping, like if the topping is considered, if it needs to be taken only once, then you might create these classes, one class, and like mushroom plus sauce, mushroom plus cheese, and then mushroom plus vegetable. But here the people are allowed to choose any topic as many times as they want, right? Cheese burst can be taken n number of times. So in this case, how can you predict and take class with those combinations? You can't do it, right? So in, like, let's say you have assumed and you have created mushroom plus cheese twice, like 5 times the cheese burst. Then you have ended creating classes till here. In future, people can come and ask, I want cheese burst to be added 6 times to my mushroom pizza. Okay, so then you again have to create another more class by specifying this combination. So this is never ending, and you end up in creating multiple lots number of classes here. If you see this combination currently, initially you have only three classes: mushroom pizza, paneer pizza, and the non-veg pizza. Now after adding the toppings, three toppings, even if you go with a single top, like even if a topping is added only once, okay, like not double cheese burst, if a person order cheese burst, you assume that it is taken only once. Even if you think that way, how many classes you end up creating here? Initially three classes for mushroom, paneer, and the non-veg. And for each combination, for mushroom pizza, you have three more classes, because mushroom plus cheese, mushroom plus sauce, and mushroom plus vegetables. Another three classes. And another three classes for paneer, because paneer plus sauce, paneer plus cheese, and paneer plus vegetables. Another three classes. And even for the non-veg pizza also, you end up creating another three classes. So like even if you add another topping, what you need to do, again you have to create this pizza plus that topping combination class again. And how many ever pizza classes you have, you need those many classes if a new topping is added. So this is never ending. You end up creating lot many classes, and even you, and this is not so extensible as well, right? So this method won't suit for us. So to solve these kind of problems, So this is not just a pizza example. Like let's say you think about a Christmas tree. Okay, initially you will have a plain Christmas tree. Okay, that is your object. You will have a plain Christmas tree. Later on, what happens is you will have a Christmas tree, and on the tree you can decorate it with n number of items. You can decorate with the bulbs, you can decorate with few flowers, and you can decorate with toys as well. And how many toys you use, there is no limit. You can use n number of toys, unlimited number of toys, right? And even the bulbs also, if you use, it's not limited that you use only a single bulb. You can use multiple bulbs as well. And even when you are decorating it with the flowers, there are n number of varieties of flowers that you can decorate a Christmas tree, right? So here what is happening is you have a Christmas tree, and then you are decorating that, or you are changing the behavior, or you want to add additional behavior to this tree by using few decorators. Even the same thing had happened with the pizza class. You have a pizza class, okay? You have a pizza class, and then what had happened is you are decorating that pizza with multiple toppings like cheese, sauce, and the vegetables. Usually you have a pizza and you are decorating it. And even if you take any dish, like let's say you go and prepare a variety, a kind of dish in the kitchen, then at the end what you do, you decorate it with chips and then coriander, curry leaves. So these are all decorator items. So you have basically a dish or a curry, and what you are doing is you are adding additional behaviors to that dish by adding these decorator items like coriander, chips, and then the curry leaves. And even for the pizza also, you have a pizza of mushroom one, or paneer, or chicken, and then you are adding cheese and then sauce, and you're adding additional behaviors to that pizza by adding these decorator items. And even if you go for a Christmas tree, there is already a Christmas tree, and you want to look it more beautiful by adding a few decorative items like bulbs, flowers, and then toys. Okay, so what you are doing here is there is already an object, and you are enhancing or you are changing the behavior of the object, right? And that you are doing it dynamically, because let's say you consider a pizza example or a Christmas tree example. It depends, like if you take a pizza example, it depends on the, like if a customer comes and says I need cheese bus double, then you are changing the behavior dynamically. And another customer can come and say that I just want the sauce. So these things are happening dynamically. So dynamically you are changing the behavior. You already have a behavior and you are enhancing that behavior by adding few decorator items. So decorator, this particular problem, like when you have an object and you want to decorate that object with few decorator items, how can you do that in a programming language? So that is where the decorator pattern comes to rescue, and it will give you one solution. Like if you end up in these kind of situations, follow this procedure so that you will be able to solve your problem easily. Okay, so this is where the decorator pattern is used, and decorator pattern is also called as a wrapper pattern, because what is happening is you initially have a tree with the bulbs, and you're wrapping it with flowers and the toys. Even if you consider a pizza example, you already have a pizza and you are wrapping it with additional behaviors like cheese, sauce, and all. And you can consider this ice cream example as well as the coffee example also. Like if you go to a coffee shop, you initially have a plain coffee, okay? And few people might want sugar, few people might don't want sugar, few people might want more milk, and few people don't want more milk, right? And few people want additional, they might want few chocolate kind of variety. Okay, so all these are all decorators. Like you have a plain coffee, and people who prefer sugar, if they come and order a coffee, what you do, you add sugar. If the people don't want sugar, you give the coffee as is. And if other person says and comes and says want more milk to be added to the coffee, then you add milk. And if other person don't want milk, you don't add it. So it's a dynamic behavior. It's a dynamic thing. It's not a static thing. where you do it at the compile time, right? And there is another example as well. Let's say you are developing an UI application, okay? You have some window kind of thing, you are developing it. Now, you give that application to users. What they do is it according, like if they want that application look pretty, what they do is they might add more borders, or they might add additional borders which look attractive to the people, right? So this also varies. Few people add single border and few people add double border and few people leave it as a borderless, okay? And you can consider another example as, let's say you are watching a movie on any OTT platform. Okay, initially you have a plain movie, you have a video which displays you the content, and later on there are additional behaviors attached to that video. So you can, there is a language option, and there is this volume, and there is this speed option also, like you can fast forward it and see it, right? 1.5x. So these are all the additional behaviors that were added to the underlying content of the video. So with the help of these examples, what you're is you are adding additional behaviors and you are making the object look more attractive or the more beautiful. You're decorating it basically, okay? So in these cases, the decorator pattern is used. So let's see the basic example, like how it, as I said, the decorator pattern is also called as a wrapper pattern. Okay. Now let's see why that is called as a wrapper pattern. Okay. Yeah. Just an example. So here if you see, yeah, I'll go with one beverage example. Okay. So this is the beverage example I was talking. So these beverages, what it is doing is, initially when the beverage business has started, they went to the market with these 4 varieties of coffees, like house blend coffee, dark roast coffee, decaf, and espresso. Like you can add any varieties of coffees based on the type of coffees you know or that are made in your region. Okay. Now, since these are all coffees, what you have common objects in the beverage class, right? And then whatever are the specific to these beverages, you have added here. Because if you consider the cost for all types of coffees. For espresso, it would be different, and for dark roast, it would be different, and for house blend, different, right? So, but the description, like basically this is in beverage, right? So description you have put here, and the cost, you know, though you have declared it here, but this is an abstract method here, and all these child classes implement cost method. Okay, initially you have done this well and good. Now they want to add few decorators, like, or wrappers, like they want to add soy, like if you see here, they want to add few more toppings, like they want to add milk. Like if a person come and says I want more milk on top of the espresso coffee, then that come as a topping, right? And they want this mocha, and then they want this whip. So these are all the decorators that they want. So initially you have only these 4 classes, and then when toppings are added, or when these additional things are added, what you will do, one thing you can do is, maybe like I'll create another classes, like I'll create classes like, let's say you have espresso, right? Espresso with soy, okay? And espresso with milk. You can create these many classes, okay? Espresso with milk, okay? And then you can create espresso with whip. So if you do this, you will end up creating multiple classes, but it is not, it is also not a proper solution, because people come and say they might need double milk as well. Okay, so this is not the right approach. So what decorator pattern suggests is, you treat a normal beverage and the extra topping you are adding, or a decorator item uniformly. Both are actually components. Both the beverage or the object and the decorator, both you treat it as an equal one. Okay, now let's see here. This is the class diagram of the decorator pattern. Okay, so what you have done here is, you create a super class called component. Okay, and you add methods if the methods are common, if the implementation of the methods is common for the both the component and the decorator, like let's say here component is the pizza and the decorator is the cheese burst. Okay, now you you are not having a topping, right? You have this sauce and you have the spices part and you have these vegetables part. These are all additional toppings, and in future additional toppings also might get added. So what they have done is you create a super class, and normal pizza also extend from it and the decorate class. So basically here decorator is a component and decorate, like it might look confusing, but just bear with me. So what happens is we'll go with the pizza example. Okay, now what decorator pattern suggests is treat both pizza and the cheese burst uniformly. Both are components here. Okay. Now here component is the superclass. Let us assume this method A is the description and the method B is the cost. Okay. Now concrete component. So there is a concrete component I have created here. Concrete component is nothing but pizza. Okay. Now here you add the description of the pizza and you add the cost as well. Like if it is a mushroom pizza, add the description as mushroom pizza and add the cost. And the same thing goes. You can have multiple concrete components because you don't have a single pizza, right? You have varieties of pizza and each variety comes as a concrete component. Now you have another interface defined decorator which extends the component and which also has a component. Okay, so here because if you see decorator, what it is doing on top of pizza, it is adding. So when you go to the decorator class, you should have what is the component on which it is adding the topping, right? If you cheese burst is there, it won't be consumed directly, right? It is added on top of some pizza. So cheese burst should have on which component I am acting as a topping. Okay, and even the spices or the on what item I am adding as a topping. Now let's say you have a pizza like this, right? Let's say you have a pizza, and then what happened is this is a component. Now cheese burst is there. It like here you will add cheese burst like this, like you add the cheese burst. So cheese burst should know on top of on top of pizza, cheese burst is getting added. Now on top of this, you are adding the sauce. Okay. Now sauce should have your pizza plus your cheese, right? Sauce, you should give the pizza which is already burst to the sauce, so that sauce would be added on top of a pizza which is already filled with the cheese burst. Now let's say you should not give a plain pizza. If you give a plain pizza to the sauce, what you think, you will get a pizza with sauce. But here it's not so. Like it depends on the order you are decorating the items. First I give pizza to cheese. Okay, and cheese is added on top of pizza. Now you'll have peas with cheese burst. Now this should be given to sauce decorator. What it does is on top of this it will add the sauce. Now, if you see here, initially you create a component pizza, okay? And you have all these decorators. Let's say this is a one concrete decorator is the cheese burst and here it is a sauce, okay? Now, what happens is it also has a component, okay? It also has a component. So, for the first time, when you created the pizza, you don't have any decorator. What you will do is you will just create a component. Okay, now what you will do is component pizza equal to new concrete component, right? New pizza off or new mushroom pizza, you will do it. So you will have some cost. Okay, now what happens is after this I want to add cheese burst. So in this case what you will do is decorator d equal to, what you will do is new concrete decorator, like you are adding the cheese burst, right? New cheese burst of, you should pass this component pizza. Okay, you should pass like this pizza. So when you pass the component here, what it does is it will add cheese burst on top of this pizza. Okay, now here you have a plain pizza. Now after adding the cheese burst, people come and ask, I want to add sauce. So this is also a decorator item because you are adding a sauce. It's a decorator. So what you will do is decorator d equal to, you should take this decorator, right? New sauce decorator of, like new sauce decorator of. And then what object you should pass? You should not just pizza. You should pass this decorator item which is already there. Okay, because this is the order in which the toppings are added, in which the pizza is getting decorated. Now here, instead of passing this decorator which is already decorated with the cheese, if you pass p, just a pizza here, what you will do, you add sauce on top of pizza. But here what you want, first you want to add cheese burst, and then you want to add sauce on the top of the cheese burst pizza. So that's where what you have to do is, first you passed only pizza to this one, to the constructor, and when you are adding the sauce, what you are doing, you are passing the decorated item, already it's decorated, here you are passing the d. Now if you see here, when you are passing pizza here, pizza, okay, because decorator items, as I said, it is a component and it has a component. So when you are passing pizza here, so what it assumes, pizza is anyways a component. Okay, so I can store my component as pizza. Okay, because you have written decorator also has a pizza. And then when you go to the sauce decorator, what happens is, you have passed this decorator item, but this decorator item ultimately is a component. Okay, so in your component like variable, you can put this one, this cheese burst pizza, as the component. What happens is, my cheese burst pizza, my cheese burst decorator will have the component as pizza, and the sauce decorator will have component as pizza decorated with the cheese burst. Here pizza decorated with the cheese burst is another. So since decorator is also a component, this condition is satisfied here. So here you understood it, right? Decorator has a component and decorator is a component. So when decorator has a component and decorator is a component here, right? So that's where, since you have already used composition here, during the constructor, what you are doing is, you are passing a component. That's where this composition rule is satisfied. But when you are going with the double decorator option, to use the composition, this decorator, first it should be a component, then only it is allowed. So that's why you are using easier rule here. Okay, yeah. Now let me explain with one more example here, right? So here you have a beverage, and we already discussed we have 4 varieties of beverage. Now see, yeah. So what happens here is, first you have a dark roast coffee of $9, let's say $9, and the mocha cost is $1, and the whip cost is $5. Here whip and mocha are the decorators, and the dark roast is the actual coffee. So how it happens is, you have dark roast inside, on top of that you added mocha, on top of that you added mocha, on top of dark roast plus mocha you added whip. So what happens is, first you talk to whip, okay, and whip in turn talks to mocha, and mocha in turn talks to dark roast. Okay, now what happens is, dark mocha, so it will say my cost. What mocha does is, I got 9 from dark roast and my cost is 1, so I give 10 to the whip. Okay, now what whip does is, my cost is 5 and I already got 10 as the cost from mocha class, so I'll give I'll return cost as $15. Okay, so this how a decorated pattern works. This is the object you need. Actually, this is the main object or a concrete component. On top of that, you have 2 decorators. Okay, now when you are dealing with it, what actually happen is, you send it to the outermost class, talks to the next class of that, and likewise it will go to the finally the component, and the component returns something to the decorator, and this decorator combines both and returns something to the outermost. Likewise, you will get the output. Go from the outermost to the innermost layer, and the output comes from the innermost to the outermost. Okay, now let's see. This is the beverage UML diagram. So what happens is, you have a beverage, So it has cost and it has description, and you have created four varieties of beverage: espresso, house blend, dark roast, and the decaf. So following the UML diagram of this, what you can do is you create one more decorator, okay, and this decorator will have, and this decorator is a beverage because it is extending from the beverage and it has a beverage, right? Now what are the decorators you are thinking to add to the coffee? You are thinking to add milk, mocha, soy, and whip. So these are all the decorators, okay. Now if you look at the code, how it works is, see, let's see, this is the code. What happens is, first you have a beverage class, okay, you have a beverage class here. It just has the description, okay, and it has this abstract method cost. Now what are all the different types of coffees you have created? Let's go with the espresso. What espresso does is it extends the beverage, and it overrides the description, because now this is not just a beverage, this is an espresso, and it has overridden cost method and it gave you 1.99. And even if you go to the house blend, it extends the beverage and it will give you the cost. Now let's go to the decorator. So decorator, what it does is it extends the beverage. So the same thing you can see here, right? The decorator, what it does is it extends the beverage, and it is a beverage and it also has a, so here it is a beverage and it also has a beverage. Now let's go to the whip. Whip is a decorator. What it does is it extends the decorator, and then what happens is it will, while instantiating itself, you pass a beverage and it will decorate this beverage with whip, okay. Now, and the cost also, how it will give is, it will take the beverage cost and then it will add its cost as well. So if you see in this example, what had happened is, so in this example, what had happened is, first, when you pass, or even in the pizza example, when you pass dark roast, like when you pass dark roast here, dark roast is a beverage. When you pass dark roast to whip here, what it does is it will take the cost of the dark roast, because while returning I said it will give this cost, right? It will take this beverage cost and then it will add its own cost, okay. So decorator, what it does is, it always takes this beverage cost and then it adds its own cost. Now let's say initially I decorated coffee with whip and then I go to mocha. Now to mocha, what I pass is, I'll pass one, okay. Now when you go to mocha, what happens is you already have a beverage that is decorated with whip, okay. Now your cost in this beverage cost included espresso plus whip cost. So here the beverage dot cost of will give you that, and then it will add this, right? So likewise, this is design. Let's run one example so that you will be more clear. Now what I want is, I want an espresso coffee, okay. And initially, if you see, you just have this espresso cost. Now I want to decorate this espresso, okay. Now I want to decorate this espresso or dark roast. Now what, here we have three scenarios. One is you order a just plain espresso, and then what you have done is you order a like dark roast coffee, and on top of dark roast, what you have done is you add mocha. So first what you have done new mocha of beverage. Here beverage is dark roast, okay. Now this beverage example, this beverage variable, what it has is, it has dark roast that is decorated with mocha, okay. And then to mocha again it passes it. So here what happens is, you already have dark roast plus mocha, you want to decorate it once more with mocha, that is assigned to this variable. And later on what happens is, you have dark roast coffee twice decorated with mocha, and then now you want once more decorated with whip, okay. Now here this beverage cost will be one dark just plus one whip, and the same goes here. Here you have the house blend. So this house blend is decorated with soy, mocha, and the whip. Let's run this, okay. Now let's run this. So if you run this, like let me expand. Okay, first what happens is espresso. If you go here, what is the cost of espresso? I have defined espresso, it's just 1.199. So in the Starbucks coffee, it has the espresso cost. Later on, what happened, you decorated dark roast with twice mocha and then double mocha and then whip. Here dark roast, double mocha and then whip. Let's see the cost. What is the dark roast cost? 0.99, right? So dark roast cost is 0.99 plus mocha twice. So mocha cost is zero point 0.2. So 0.99 plus zero point 0.2 plus zero point 0.2. And one more time you decorated with whip. What is the cost of the whip here? Zero point 0.5. So here 0 0.5. So finally, if you calculate what it will give, so 0.99 plus zero point 0.9. So that will come to be 1.89. So you got the final cost as the here, right? So if you go to the other example, you have a house blend decorated with soy mocha and then whip, right? So let's go to the house blend cost. You have 0.89. And what is the soy cost? 0.89 plus zero point 0.1, 0.99. And then whip cost 0.99 plus zero point 0.5, 1.49. And then mocha 0.2, 1.69, right? So this is how you use a decorator pattern. You simply remember this particular example. Okay, let me explain it with another example. Like if you are familiar with Java, seen your code like new file input stream of, like new buffered input stream of file input stream and new zip input stream of new buffered input stream. So what happens is, initially this file input stream is your object, okay, is your component, and you want your file to be read as a zip file and you want to read it as a buffered stream. Okay, so to add these behaviors, what you have done is inside this so if you look the code class, like if you look the Java code, what happens is here, like let me do, yeah, let me add the Java code for this. Let's say you have this one. Okay, now what happens is, ideally if you have remembered the Java code, how it works is, so you will give new zip input stream of, inside new zip input stream, what you give is new buffered input stream, right? New buffered input stream. And inside new buffered input stream, you give new file input stream. And to the file input stream, you will give some file name. Okay. Now what happens here is, this file input stream is the component, and then this buffered input stream is one decorator and zip input stream is one decorator. So outside you will have zip input stream, and what it does is it will route the request to the buffered. First the request goes to the zip input stream, and then it will give the input to the buffered input stream, and the buffered input stream will give to the file input stream. File input stream, it does its processing and then it return back its processing output to the buffered one, and whatever output it got from the file input stream, it add few additional things to that, and this output will be passed to the zip input stream, and zip input stream, it add its own functionality to this. Okay, so this is how, if you see the example, initially have this input stream as the component, and these are all these three are the concrete components, like file input stream, string buffer input stream, and byte array. And this is a decorator. Okay, this is a decorator interface, and these are all concrete decorators. Okay, now if you see the this example, what had happened is, file input stream is, so here you have this component, and then it got decorated with buffered input stream and with the zip input stream. So here if you see buffered input stream decorators. Okay, yeah, this way if you see the decorator example, and you can just remember this class diagram where you have a component, and then you have a component, and then you have a decorators as well. So here the decorator is treated both as a beverage, as a component, and it has a component. Okay, now let's see the official definition of the decorator pattern. So if you see the definition of the decorator pattern here, what it is saying is, it attaches additional responsibilities to an object dynamically, right? Because whenever a person comes and says his requirement, then only you are adding additional behaviors to the decorator, right? To the actual object. You are not doing it during the compile time. Decorators provide a flexible alternative to subclassing for extending functionality. So here, to extend the functionality, what it has done is it wraps the object. Decorator wraps the object, okay, and then it by wrapping it is giving the additional behavior, right? So this is what you can add dynamical additional responsibilities to the object dynamically. Okay, yeah, this is the decorator pattern. Thank you.